8-minute interviews.
Ready? Yes. Hello, I'm Rick Love for the Sonoma Valley International Film Festival 2013 and SVTV 27's Filmmaker Interview Series. I have with me co-director Michelle Duran and actress Erica Bullman, who plays Laure in Soufflé au Chocolat, a very sexy movie about couples vacationing in a beautiful island off the coast of Vancouver. So, did you start with the setting for this film, or did you start with the characters?
The characters. I had the settings in mind, because I spent some time on vacation on the island. And but first, I started with the story and the character to evolve, and then we were looking for the proper island. But we knew that we wanted to do it on an island for sure.
It's interesting that it's in Vancouver, an English-speaking province, yet your film is in French.
Well, when you write, you have to. I mean, I speak English obviously, but to write a screenplay, you need to be very precise, and for this one, I had to write in French.
And the French identity, you have people from Quebec, but you also have some people from France and someone from Quebec who grew up in the Bay Area. So the identity that they bring to it seems to be kind of part of the soufflé that you're making there. And how was your experience working on the film? How collaborative was it with the other actors, and was there rehearsals, and how was that?
It was a really wonderful experience. There were, I got hired on quite late actually. I had to recast my role, so the rehearsals weren't very long. And I'm from Quebec City, and I have two accents. My mother is from France, and I spent most of my adult life living in France. And so I can take on both accents. And I had to rehearse and learn every single line by heart, because I didn't want to do any improvisation and let any sort of Quebecois expressions slip into my French, or any turns of phrases.
Right, so, because your audience would be very attuned to that, especially the people from Quebec.
Yeah, and France. Yeah.
And also, Erica was casted because she can speak with an accent from France. Laure is supposed to be a French woman coming from France, and we were looking for a person who can speak with an accent from France.
Watching your film, it seemed like it was of a part with a continuum of films like The Big Chill is the obvious American counterpart, but also one of my favorite Canadian films, The Decline of the American Empire.
Yes.
This idea of these people getting together, and it's amazing how sex comes into it so quickly.
Yeah. That's a very good note, because when we were, when I was working with Fred, the other director, we watched a lot of movies to just because Fred also was a cinematographer, and one of the movie we were, watching was the Decline of the American Empire.
Another great Canadian film.
As
well. In terms of co-directing, what must that be like? I mean, most times I'm sitting across from a director. It's one person, and they brought their vision, and they may communicate with the cinematographer, but it's one. So what's that experience like?
Very interesting in a sense. We are very different from Fred. He's more technical with the cinematography, and I'm an actor also. So what we brought on the table was two different skills. And we worked together before another project. We knew each other before. So when we discussed at the beginning of the whole project, very soon we knew how we could collaborate, and it went very smoothly.
So he's handling more of the technical side, lighting, shot, and you're working with the actors to the best performance.
Yes.
Interesting. The island, Galiano Island, how did you find that? It's a beautiful setting, and the film looks beautiful, by the way. Congratulations to you and your co-director.
Thank you.
A beautiful looking film. Tell us about Galiano Island. It's almost like a character in the film.
It is because it's an island which I spent 7 years before starting shooting. I spent vacation time on Galliano, and the island is a very long island, and one side of the island has a cliff, the other side is more sandy, and I remember of this cliff and this dramatic, aspect of the island. Galliano is a very it's the first island you encounter when you arrive from Vancouver, taking the ferry to cross to Vancouver Island. The characteristic is that it's for some part it reminds the Mediterranean Sea. The climate in July can be, I wouldn't say warm.
No.
But no, it's it's sunshine. So that was really part of the. You're right. It's a character in the movie.
The people are also very friendly, which
Yeah.
I'd like to point out, because we had the whole town. The town. It's not a very big island, but a lot of the island got involved, and we had the neighbor play the taxi driver who drops us, Mark and Naomi off at the house, and we had neighbors, because we were freezing cold, we thought it was hot. Michelle had done a little bit of scouting and so came back and said it was going to be really hot, and we had neighbors lend us coats, and it was a really nice.
Yeah, it's a very nice location, and it's the characteristic. Basically they have their life July and August, leaving July and August.
The rest
It's back to
pay for it the rest of the year.
yes, exactly.
Outstanding. The dynamic in your film is very interesting because you have Cyril and Laura, who kind of a more conservative couple, and Mark and Noemi, and then the catalyst is this beautiful young woman who comes in, and I guess she's native to the island there. And did you start with your characters and your two couples, and then come up with the catalyst, or how did you come about the story coming together?
Well, I wanted to. I met in Vancouver so many people who arrive sometime from France and who are never happy to be in Vancouver. They're always complaining that the cheese is too expensive, the bread is not good, the wine is not the same as in France. So I wanted to oppose this type of couple, basically, who are conservative and who, as opposed to Mark and Noemi, who are, well, they decide to be in Vancouver, which is it's an adventure, and to be a little bit more opportunistic, not in a bad way, but in France there's a lot of protection, social protection. When you arrive in Vancouver, there's no more of that, so you need to be more aware. So I started with these two couples, different couples, and then I wanted to have Mark and Noemi as a loving couple, so that when the third person is arriving, you're just wondering, okay, whoa, what will be the direction?
And what's the extent of the openness of this young
Yeah.
couple? Certainly. The film is Soufflé au Chocolat. Thanks very much to co-director Michelle Duran and Erica Bullman, actress. This is the Sonoma Valley International Film Festival 2013 Filmmaker Interview Series on SVTV 27.